A worldwide manhunt for a Scottsdale man continues right now. At this very moment, 10 years ago, Robert Fisher was in a heated argument with his wife. Hours later, he carried out a methodical plan, killing his wife and children.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be talking about Robert William Fisher and the horrible events that took place in Scottsdale, Arizona on April 10th, 2001. Robert William Fisher was born on April 13th, 1961 in Brooklyn, New York. His parents were William Fisher, a banker, and Jan Howell. He has two sisters with whom he attended Salharo High School in Tucson, Arizona. His parents divorced in 1976 when Fisher was only 15 years of age. According to friends and relatives, the divorce was very turbulent and unsettling, leaving long-lasting effects on him. He reportedly spoke of it with co-workers at Mayo Clinic Hospital and once confided to an associate that his life would have been very different if his mother had not left the family. Fisher joined the US Navy. He attempted to become part of the SEALs but did not succeed. He then married Mary Cooper in 1987. He has worked as a surgical catheter technician, a respiratory therapist, and a firefighter. He was also an avid outdoorsman, hunter, and fisherman. Fisher was described as a cruel and distant control freak towards his family, even once turning a garden hose on his wife after she had spoke up to him. It seemed as if no one in the family was allowed to go against his word. He only allowed her to paint the walls white, and she was not permitted to hang up quilts that she had handmade on the wall. The couple fought about sex and money a lot, with Mary taking a job that she told friends was just a security fund. Fisher was also embarrassed that his son did not like to hunt or fish, and once tried to teach his children how to swim by throwing them out of a boat. He also had a hunting partner called Sandy Gillespie. She once said that they were crying and Brittany was screaming, as she was a witness to him throwing them off the boat. He pulled them back in the boat and said, "Now there, how's that?" He nonetheless tried to hold on to an image as a devoted family man, but it was just a facade. His mother-in-law, Ginny Cooper, told investigators that Fisher didn't socialise often with the family because of a fear of getting too close to people and losing them. Fisher's mother told investigators that she had been a yes sir wife who didn't stand up to her husband. She added that she saw similar dynamics early in her son's marriage to Mary, and that she had spoken to her daughter-in-law about her concerns. A close friend of Fisher stated that his family drew a striking resemblance to that of his childhood. Fisher had always been an outdoorsman and a hunter since he was a young adult, but friends noticed strange behaviour on hunting trips and other outdoor occasions. In one case, after killing an elk, Fisher began smearing its blood on his face. On another occasion, he snuck up behind a family that was having a picnic and fired all of his rounds of his weapon in the air. Fisher had been an active member of the Scottsdale Baptist Church. He participated in the men's ministry, but unlike Mary, he had begun to withdraw from the church's activities a few months prior to the murders. In 1998, the couple went to their church's senior pastor for marital counselling. Fisher also told co-workers about a one-night affair with a prostitute that he met in a massage parlour. He threatened that Mary would find out because it was the cause of a urinary tract infection that left him ill for several days in December 2000. Wade Resnock, a former neighbour, said they didn't have a happy marriage, that they screamed constantly and everybody heard it. You could hear it in the house next door, and you never really heard him scream, which is kind of weird. I mean, he had a way about him, but you never heard him scream. He also said that he always heard the wife say things such as, "You're worthless, I could have done better than you," and that they should get a divorce. Fisher once told a hunting friend that he was renewing his commitment to his faith and marriage because he couldn't live without his family, possibly hinting that he would consider suicide over divorce. According to psychologists, an intense fear of loss is not unusual for an individual traumatized by divorce while an adolescent. But in the weeks before her death, Mary told several friends that she was going to divorce Fisher. The following clip I'm going to show you shows his strange, dismissive and abrupt behaviour whilst chilling at home with his family and children.
What you taking pictures of? Turn that thing off. You!
This is to show our boy is 2 months old.
So what? Leave him alone.
It's also his first Thanksgiving.
Big deal, he says.
Come on,
Let's get on
Bert.
with the food.
Will it work with the window like this? Hey, Bobby.
Oh.
Dad hurt you?
Say hi. Hi, people. Hi, people. Pretty's looking sharp today.
Let's see.
Show me dress. Turn around. Turn around again. Smile. Smile pretty. Okay, now scream. You see, I knew you could scream.
There's Porcupine Dad.
Okay, kill the camera.
Okay, just a minute. Can you say bye, Brittany? Bye. Now let's find the butt. Don't, that's medicine, Mama.
The couple's arguing became more frequent. On April 9th, 2001 at 10:30, a neighbour reported a very loud argument inside of the home. 10:30 was 10 hours before the house blew up in an explosion. However, the Tucson police force theorised that the murders took place between 9:30 and 10:15. On the same night, at 10:43, Fisher was spotted on an ATM camera where he withdrew $280 and Mary Fisher's Toyota 4Runner was in the background and he was seen leaving. Meanwhile, Fisher was aware that Mary, his wife, was laying in bed with a gunshot wound to the back of her head and both his children had had their throats cut.
74th Street North, there's just an explosion up a volley and a fire.
And a fire. Can you
We had big fire. That's probably dead. And the guy's house next door is going to catch on fire too.
Okay, I'm telling the officers right now that people are inside the house.
All right,
Do you know how many people, sir?
I don't know how many people.
On the morning of April 10th, 2001, at 8:42 AM, the house exploded. Firefighters were immediately alerted to the explosion, which was strong enough to collapse the front brick wall and rattle the frames of neighbouring houses for at least half a mile in every direction. Firefighters kept the 20-foot blaze from spreading to other homes, and a series of smaller secondary explosions, believed to be caused by either rifle ammunition or paint cans, forced them to keep their distance. One officer suffered minor injuries to his leg when he lost his balance and fell near the burning house.
The flames just jumped out of the home just before 9 o'clock this morning. Here's what it looked like from Newshawk 5 soon after it started. The house burned to the ground in minutes. Firefighters say they heard explosions even after they got here. Police tell us they heard popping sounds on their way here or when they got to the scene, and there may have been explosives and ammunition inside the home, but they can't confirm that or how the fire started.
Just heard this tremendous explosion, and the cats went up about 5 feet in the air. It just shook the whole house. And I ran out the front, and a friend ran out the back, and I saw smoke coming up.
It was defensive immediately. I mean, we got on scene, and you could not have gone into the house to fight the fire because it was the whole, except for the garage area, the whole other part was just fully engulfed in flames.
The first firefighter that pulled up on the scene, he said he knew right away there were people inside. He said that smell, the smell of burning bodies, you don't quickly forget that.
Homes burn, they don't just blow up. And this thing was so fully engulfed from the get-go. As the firefighters and the emergency responders were just getting into the smoldering ash, there just seemed to be sort of a palpable sense that there was going to be more to this story, and of course there was.
Police found the bodies of a woman and 2 children in a Scottsdale home this morning after a fire. It happened in South Scottsdale near Scottsdale Road in McDowell. John Brodsky has spent the day at the scene. And John, do investigators have any idea what specifically happened here?
Kerry, they really don't have too many answers this evening. They do know that there were 3 people in the home. They found them dead this morning, and they're trying to find the husband who also lived in the home.
What I remember most is Johnny and I walking to the backyard of the Fisher residence. and going, and the walls were blown out, so we were able to see over the walls of each bedroom and seeing the children lying in bed. And Mary, of course, we didn't know it was Mary at that time. Realizing that we've got a problem here, and Johnny and I just kind of looked at each other and says, we've got a triple here.
Fisher was very smart and calculated. He pulled the gas line from the back of the house's furnace and waited for the accumulating gas to be ignited by a candle that he had lit hours before. This delayed fuse would have given Fisher an approximate 10-hour head start in his successful attempt to evade law enforcement. Fisher's decision to have the whole house explode is believed to have been to attempt to conceal evidence of his crimes and possibly to cause police to believe that he had died. The burned bodies of a woman and 2 children were found lying in a bed with the remains of a burnt-out house. They were identified as Mary, his wife, 38, and his 2 children, Brittany, aged 12, and Bobby, aged only 10 years old. Investigators theorized that Fisher murdered his family because he felt threatened by Mary's intent to divorce him. He did not want his children to go through what he did as a child. Fisher, who disappeared at the time of the murders, was named as the only suspect in the case on April 14, 2001, when Arizona Department of Public Safety officers were instructed to a statewide bulletin to arrest him. On the 20th of April, the last physical evidence of Fisher's whereabouts surfaced when police found Mary's Toyota 4Runner and their dog, Blue, in Tonto National Forest, near the towns of Young and Payson. This was 100 miles north of Scottsdale, where the murders took place. A pile of human excrement was also found in the passenger door, and although police searched the area immediately around where the car was found, they only searched one out of dozens of nearby caves. Several professional cavers have suggested that Fisher used these as a hiding place before either escaping, killing himself, or dying from low oxygen levels. The spot on which his truck was located, less than a mile from the Fort Apache Indian Reservation, was an area that police never searched, and a couple reported seeing a man several days before Fisher's car was discovered, walking along the nearby Young Road, who resembled Fisher. But according to the woman, when they saw him, she said to her husband that he looked like Robert Fisher. However, they waited until the car was found to report the tip. On the 19th of July 2001, a state arrest warrant was issued in Phoenix, charging Fisher with 3 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of arson. Subsequently, he was declared a fugitive, and a federal arrest warrant was issued by the United States District Court for the District of Arizona, charging him with unlawful flight to avoid prosecution. On June 29, 2002, Fisher was named by the FBI as a 475th fugitive to be placed on the 10 Most Wanted list. He was also featured on America's Most Wanted Dirty Dozen list of the show's most notorious fugitives, and was also profiled on The Hunt with John Walsh. The FBI offers a reward of up to $100,000 for information leading to his capture. As of April 2003, the FBI have received hundreds and hundreds of different leads. However, all reported sightings of Fisher have been inconclusive or false.
Hang on, boy.
Hang on, Bobby.
Boy, guys, Santa brought you a good surprise, huh, Brett?
Brett, there's one more thing that goes over here. It hooks onto here. It's a carriage where like 4 people, you and 3 of your friends, could sit on it and swing, but it's not put together yet.
In the years following his disappearance, some people living in Fisher's old neighborhood thought they saw a man resembling him. And in 2004, there was a lead in Canada as a man with a striking resemblance to Fisher was arrested in Vancouver, British Columbia, by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. The man had a missing tooth where Fisher had a gold replacement, as well as a surgical scar on his back, also like Fisher. However, his fingerprints didn't match. He was held by Canadian police for approximately 1 week until a family member correctly identified him. Responding to the speculation that the man's fingerprints had been altered, Scottsdale detective John Kirkham said that there was no scarring on the man's fingertips to suggest this. The man's identity was never released, and the FBI alerted local law enforcement in 2012 that Fisher may be living in Payson area in Gila County, Arizona. Detective T.J. Dyron suggested that Fisher may have used his survival skills to continue living in the wooded area near Payson. In October 2014, police raided a house in Commerce City, Colorado, after receiving a tip that Fisher was hiding there. But despite arresting 2 occupants, they found no sign of Fisher. Fisher is considered armed and extremely dangerous, and has ties to Florida and New Mexico. There's been speculation that he has committed suicide or started a new life under an assumed identity. FBI agent Bob Caldwell says his sense of personality and habits is that he is arrogant, cocky, a know-it-all, but a loner at the same time. He chews tobacco and favours the Copenhagen brand, and sometimes walks in an odd, erect manner with his chest out due to back pain. In April 2016, FBI officials and Scottsdale police displayed new, age-enhanced photos of Fisher during a news conference on the 15th anniversary of the grisly murders of his family.
Better than the rest. Let's go get the commies. Okay. At ease for peace. Cut.
It was clear that Robert William Fisher had issues with divorce from a child, and they clearly affected him in his real marriage later in life. But however, the family did not deserve the grisly end that they met, and hopefully one day he is brought to justice for his awful crimes. Once again, thank you for taking the time to watch my video. Please subscribe, like and comment. Thank you.